I'd like to speak to you a bit about Ubuntu. Ubuntu is an old philosophical idea in Southern Africa that has been popularized by Nelson Mandela and Archbishop Desmond Tutu. Ubuntu means humanity. However, it's a very deep term. It means in the Xhosa and Zulu languages, it means I am what I am because of who we all are. So it sees the human race as a collective, as a circle. And as we connect with our ancestors, we connect with one another. As we connect with ourselves, we connect with our community. And as we connect with our ancestors, we also connect to our neighbors and those people who are not connected to us in blood. And as that happens, then there's harmony in the human race, and then we face outwards and we connect with the natural world. So right now there's a crisis in the human race because we are fighting with one another. And to put an end to that fight, we need to find some peace within ourselves. And it starts with us making peace with our own ancestors. So the mystical form of Ubuntu is what I like to teach. And there's not a lot spoken about in terms of Ubuntu as a mystical way. And the reason is because it's not spoken about that much in South Africa. And in the traditional South African way of transmission, you experience the ceremonies and the elders talk to you about the ceremonies, but there's not a lot of explanation there's not a lot of let's sit down and talk about Ubuntu. So my understanding of Ubuntu is through my experience of being a Sangoma and a traditional Sangoma in South Africa and traveling through the country and working with different Sangoma groups. When I studied and when I apprenticed, my elders showed me how we call in the ancestors, and then we did it together. So often it would involve being in a circle and with a totem pole in the center. And in that space, we call it the kraal. And the kraal is a space where the animals are kept, where the wealth of the family is kept. So it could be oxen, it could be donkeys, it could be goats. The livestock of the family is held in the kraal. Now, kraal is an Afrikaans word, and the Xhosa word is ubushlanti, which is translated into English as the forest of humanity. Very beautiful, isn't it? Ubushlanti, the forest of humanity. So as we connect with one another, we're also connecting with the natural world. We're connecting with the livestock. We're connecting with the oxen and the cows and the donkeys. And it's a very, very beautiful. So the concept of Ubuntu starts in the kraal. It starts in that space where people are honoring their ancestors with a totem pole in the center, where they are in a circle and where everyone is equal. And people bless the totem pole as they are invoking their ancestors. And each person is given a voice. Each person is given a chance to bless their ancestors. And then the elders will come in and wrap it up through invoking all our ancestors and invoking the Great Spirit. So this has been my experience of Ubuntu, and I must say I've been very lucky because my teacher, my Xhosa teacher and her husband are old practitioners of Ubuntu, and it's been passed on to them by their elders going back for hundreds of years. And when someone practices in this way, they're not just a medicine person, they are a human being. So I'm bringing these Ubuntu teachings to you because it's the right thing to do as a human being, to learn how to connect with our ancestors. I remember once I came back from the United States leading ceremonies, and I was walking in the Eastern Cape with my teacher's husband, my adopted father, Tata Sugwini. And I was explaining to him how people were struggling to connect with their dreams, and they were struggling to connect with their ancestors. In fact, they weren't dreaming about their ancestors, and they were really struggling to get any kind of prophetic dreams or teaching dreams. And when I shared this with him, he was silent. And then he looked at me and he said, Cingo Lundaba, wena uhamba phesheya ufundisa abantu ukunqula izinyanya zabo. Hamba Cingo, fundisa abantu ukuthetha izinyanya zabo. He said, go, John, go. Teach people overseas how to connect with their ancestors. Because as a traditional person in South Africa, to not have dreams about your ancestors, to not connect with your ancestors is such a great sadness that there's no words. There's no words for that because it's so unusual for them. And when he heard my story about my time in America, he felt so much compassion for the people that he said, please go and teach them. And I said, Tata, my father, I said, Ndinentloni. I said, I'm shy and I'm lonely and ndikumbula wena. I miss you too much. And he said, Cingo, akungxaki. Sicinga wena apha, sithandaza wena, uyahamba. He said, don't worry. You're always with us in our hearts. We always pray for you. You must go and help the people because you are a senior Sangoma and it's your job to teach the people and help them connect with their ancestors, help them connect with their dreams.